I'll give it 40 seconds.
All righty. Guess we're 1 minute after the hour and looks like we already have a good group of folks that are logging on here. Kind of trickling in. Let's give them one more little minute here. You're going to run the slides, right, Jessica?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
trying to pause the music.
Oh,
I shouldn't have had it in the same window. Okay.
all right. Awesome. Why don't we get started? I want to welcome everyone to the October MSCC All Hands meeting. My name's Al Anderson. I'm the Director of Cyber Infrastructure Programs for MSCC. My co-hosts are Jessica Johnson, who's our CI facilitator for MSCC, and our principal investigator is Anna Hunziger. I think she's on here. I see her name on here. I don't see her little picture. I don't know
I'm
why.
here.
Um, so we want to look at our agenda for today. So again, welcome. I appreciate everyone showing up to our meetings like this. It's good to keep our community moving forward and building what we've already built and keep things moving forward. I think we have a good meeting for today. We're going to kick off with some updates from Anna on MSCC stuff. Then we're going to have Greg from Globus is going to talk to us about Globus and what they offer for the community and maybe some other interesting little tidbits there. We have a community poll that we want to really ask you to participate in regarding potential webinars that we're looking at, and these would be more hands-on kind of events where we'd work through different kind of CI infrastructure type things. And finally, we'll have some information about our community practices. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anna.
Thank you, Al, and thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'm going to be short here. I just wanted to take a moment to update you that we have some new faces joining the MSCC team, and we're really excited that we get to have additional staff that will help us continue to support you and the community. And I'm going to give them just have a few, 1 minute each, please, so that people can see your face, hear your voice. And if you could just say, again, keep it to a minute, please, or less, a little bit about yourself. So, first of all, again, on behalf of the MSCC team, I want to welcome Sydney, Jasmine, and Pavan. And these are their titles, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about themselves. So why don't we start first with Sydney?
Hello, everyone. I'm Sydney Davis, the Communications Manager. I just recently moved to Woodbridge, Virginia. I kind of hail from mostly the association world of marketing and communications. and I'm really happy to be here. And everyone's been super helpful, and I'm looking forward to picking your brains and getting to know kind of all things MSCC.
Thank you, Sydney. Welcome. Next, we have Yasmin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin House. I come from a background of marketing, content creation, graphic design, all those great things. And I'm just so happy to be joining MSCC. I've gotten to meet some of you already. I'm excited to meet more of you and just being able to collaborate with everyone and get going here. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome. And last but not least, Pavan.
Hello everyone, my name is Pawan Subhash Chandravos Nara. I know it's a big one to remember, so you can just call me Pawan. And I'm very thrilled to be one of the newest member of the MSCC team, joining as an AI research and technical specialist. So I see myself as a technical partner for this MSCC community. So my goal is to be the hands-on resource for faculties and students at all our partner institutions. So if you are thinking that I have this great research idea and I don't know how to apply AI, or I'm really stuck at the technical part of my proposal, please come talk to me. That's exactly what I'm here to solve. And yeah, I've just finished my master's in computer science, and I also worked as a research assistant. So I had the opportunity to do exactly what I'm going to do in this role, partnering with faculties and students to translate their research questions to AI workflows. So yeah, so if you ever want to geek about generative AI and how to use it all better, I'm always up for the conversation. And thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Pavan, and welcome. So please join me in a collective welcome to our new staff members. With their help, we will continue to do the meaningful work to support you, researchers, educators at HBCUs and TCUs. So delighted that we have these new team members. We will be sharing their contact information and other things. So delighted to welcome them. This is week 1 for all of them. They're on day 4. So anyway, thank you. And, we will, at other subsequent meetings, we will be also sharing with you some exciting developments as we expand what we could do for the community. So with that said, let's now get to the rest of our program, which is really exciting. So Al, I'm going to hand it back to you. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you, Anna. Next, we're going to have Jessica, who'll introduce Greg for us.
Awesome. So today we have the pleasure of being joined by Greg Nawaki. He's the Director of Customer Engagement of the Globus Department at the University of Chicago. He's responsible for ensuring subscribers are getting the most value from Globus by promoting user adoption. His experience includes building controls and diagnostics for high-energy physics experiments, software development in the television and consumer products industry, working with the Globus Toolkit in the early days of grid computing, and as the technical lead for a data analytics company he co-founded. Greg holds a BS in electrical engineering from Michigan State University and an MS in electrical and computer engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology. He enjoys bridging the gap between science and technology and the marketing and business development worlds. So with that, I'll open the floor to Greg. And thank you so much for presenting to our community today.
Great, thanks, Jessica. Okay, so let me share my screen here. There we go. Okay, so everybody should see my slides here. And I'm sharing my whole screen because I'm going to switch in and out of some demos. So as Jessica said, I am Greg Nawaki. I'm with the Globus team at the University of Chicago. And our goal for today, I'm going to give you a Globus overview. And I'm going to talk about the Globus freemium use cases. We've got a lot of things that you can do with Globus for free right off the bat, including getting your local HPC integrated with Globus. I'm going to talk a little bit about Globus Connect Personal and how you as individual researchers can install that. And interfacing with national research infrastructure, I'll do a demo with Access. And then we'll kind of switch out. I can talk a little bit about kind of the next steps that you might want to take as a researcher and as the implementer of some of your technology at your campuses. And hopefully I'll do this all in a half hour, so Jessica and Al invite me back. Okay, so Globus, we are a not-for-profit service developed and operated by the University of Chicago. Our mission, and I promise one of two slides I'll read verbatim, is to increase the efficiency, effectiveness of researchers engaged in data-driven science and scholarship through sustainable software. And the key here is the sustainability of Globus. And our team comprises of, we've got professional software developers, we've got researchers, we've got academics, we've got people, business operators, all with a lot of experience in both industry and academia. So we kind of span the whole gamut here on the Globus team. So talking a little bit about our freemium sustainability model. So the basic capabilities, and this is really what I'm going to stress today, are available free of charge to anyone engaged in not-for-profit research, which I assume is most everybody here. And then I'll touch a little bit on our subscription model, and that enable enhanced features for both the researchers and system administrators on Globus endpoints and collections. And our subscription pricing model is based on fairness and equity, and we scale it based on the research spend of the institution. So an R1 is going to pay more than an R3 or smaller institution. And we're even talking with the MSCC community about what we're going to do to maybe even extend that a notch further. So hopefully this is merely the start of what you're going to see with Globus's involvement with the MSCC community. I was at the MSCC meeting in Nashville, this past summer, and I had a wonderful time and met a lot of you there. And I really, it just became obvious to me that we really need to engage with this community. So we're going to think about multiple ways that we can do that. So a lot of the development for Globus was funded by grants, right? DOE grants, NSF grants, and those are great. But as we all know, grants are a little bit tenuous, especially in this day and age. And I don't want to come to somebody and say, hey, use my cool service, and we're going to be here till the grant evaporates. So what we did is we were funding our ongoing operations by our subscription model. So subscribers pay in to unlock some of that for the premium features of Globus. And you can see here's just a small example of our subscription group all over the world. Mainly, we've got most of the R1 institutions in the US subscribe to Globus. We're big in the UK as well, so national laboratories, some small independent research institutes. So we really kind of spread, even some corporate subscribers. So we really kind of have a wide variety of subscribers out there. Okay, I can show you all sorts of neat stats about Globus, but I copied this off our website yesterday. This is our counter. To date, we've transferred over 3.5 exabytes of data. So yeah, we're certainly experienced in large file and file data transfer. That's what we're known for, and really kind of what I'll talk about today. So second slide, I'll read verbatim. Globus, we're a data management platform. We deliver fast and reliable data transfer. Collaboration, some of those are subscription features sharing, but you can certainly participate in that, and I'll talk a little bit about that and how that goes. Automation services, I'll talk a little bit about that at the end, kind of next things that we can talk about in this community. Directly from your own storage systems. We are not a storage provider. We abstract your existing file system, your existing HPC systems, your cloud storage systems, and I'll show you an example of that as we go on. Via software as a service, I'm going to demo our web browser interface. We've got other ways of interacting with our services too. And using your existing identities. We're not an identity provider. We don't want to be an identity provider. So we want you to be able to use your existing institutional identities to log in and interact with Globus. Okay, so your own storage can mean a lot of different things. Your HPC clusters, maybe your desktop personal workstations, cloud storage systems, your laptop. we've got instruments as well. We're really kind of found we found a sweet spot in getting data from instruments up to where it needs to be and off of those instruments, so they can be used for the next person aligned to use that instrument. So yeah, storage can mean a lot of different things, that we've got ways of interfacing with all those resources. I'll actually do a demo of installing Globus Connect Personal on my laptop as well. Okay, so Globus connectors can support lots of different diverse systems. Yes, our cloud storage connectors are a premium subscription-only model, but just so you know, that's available and out there. So we have the ability to interface with lots of different storage systems. POSIX works out of the box. That's free and clear with Globus Connect Server. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about logging into Globus, and you'll see I'll do this as a demo. We use federated identities with CI Logon in common. So your identity provider might already be there. So it's really easy to log on to Globus. And barring that, you can log on with your GitHub identity, your Google identity, your ORCID, your Globus ID. But the key here is you don't need to contact us to get an account. Right? We often get these inquiries. Please help me get a Globus account. You don't need to do that. You can log right into Globus, and when you do that, your identity will by default become a Globus account. And I'll show you that. And you can even link additional identities. So if you have multiple identities, you can do that. I'm dual appointed at the University of Chicago and Argonne National Laboratory. I like to link those identities together, so when I go to different resources, they're all there. And just kind of a quick word about identities. An identity is not an email address. The string may look very similar, but technically they can be different. Sometimes at the University of Chicago, there's the same, but at other identity or at other institutions, they can be a little bit different. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind and be aware that an identity and email address are two different things. Okay, so that said, why don't we do a demo? We'll log in and show you Globus because, live demo, right? What can go wrong? So it all starts here at our website. You can click the login button or just go directly to app.globus.org, and that's going to take you to our login here. And you'll notice there's, I think about 1,400 identity providers linked in here. Again, most of those are by in common CI Logon Federation. And I'm going to call out Stacy Pretty on top because she has integrated, she has federated her identity provider with InCommon and CI Logon and released the research and scholarship attributes, so her researchers can use their local identities to log into Globus. So what that means is, in the Globus world, there's no difference between an individual researcher at Salish Kootenai College and Johns Hopkins University. They're all on a level playing field. So that's, again, our fairness and equity comes into play. So so if your identity provider isn't listed here, you can log in with your GitHub ID, your Google ID, your ORCID. We have the ability to log in with the ORCID. We even, and I said we're not an identity provider, we've got our own very low level IDP should all else fails. You can get a Google ID a Globus ID to sign in. Okay, I am at the University of Chicago, so I'm going to use my UChicago identity to log into Globus, and I click continue. You're going to see this is going to take me out to my UChicago IDP, and I am going to use my username to log into Globus, username here. And my password, sorry, I got to jump over to my password manager. Chicago identity, there we go. And paste in my password. And it's going to take me out for multi-factor authentication. And I've logged in many times today. Oh, good. Okay, it's going to ask me for my MFA. And this is the part of the demo where I'm glad I didn't leave my phone in the car. Okay, there we go. And I verified. So I've used my my institutional identity with MFA to log in and authenticate to Globus. Now, I've obviously done this before, done this many times. And if I go here to the settings in Globus, you'll notice that here's all my identities linked in. Oops, sorry, don't know why. Got a little click happy there. So here's all the identities I've got linked in. I've logged in with my UChicago identity. I mentioned I've got my ALCF identity from Argonne linked in. I do have a Globus ID. This is a Google identity. There's my ORCID. So I can link these all together, which is kind of neat. But I've used my Naraki at UChicago identity to log in. Okay, great. So we're authenticated to Globus. So what do we want to do next? Let's do a transfer. And you can do this. You can do this very demo. I like to, when you log into Globus, I like to use the 2-panel view because transfers happen between 2 collections. And we've got a Globus tutorial collection 1. We have these tutorial collections anybody can access to try this out and do a Globus transfer. And let's go to Globus tutorial collection 2. So we're going to do a transfer from one to the other. And if you go to the share Go data directory, there's 3 small text files. So let's go ahead and just highlight those 2 files. I'm going to highlight those, click start, done. That's what all it takes to log into or to do a transfer with Globus. And I'll talk a little bit about what's going on here. So this is fire and forget. Let's say these are very large files and it's going to take days, weeks, or months for this transfer to happen. That's okay. You don't have to stay logged in. You can log out and log back in. When you hit that start button, Globus takes over. We're going to do the babysitting of that transfer. I can jump into the activity monitor and I can see, so this is that transfer I just did. You can jump in and get a little bit more details into the events log here. Started, progress, succeeded. You can look if there are any faults in there. There's not going to be because this was a small transfer, but that's all it takes to do a transfer. And do a refresh here, and sure enough, there we go. The two files I just transferred. You can do this demo all day long. You can access Globus Tutorial Collection 1, Globus Tutorial Collection 2. There are some options over here that I'm going to go into when I do another transfer, but you can even do things, I call this sometimes the lazy man shell tool. If you want to delete a selected file, you can do that. You can do some file manipulation here. So I'll jump into some of these other options as we go along there. Deleted that file. Okay, so what did we just see here? Assured data transfer, no babysitter required, right? We logged into that Globus multi-tenant service. I communicated with Globus Connect instances that abstracted those file systems. We'll talk about that next. And Globus transferred those files reliably and securely. Reliably, fire and forget. It uses Grid FTP, very fast transfer protocol. You can certainly encrypt that transfer. You can even, as the endpoint owner, enforce that encryption. Let's see, secure reliably in the sense we do checksumming. So what you see is what you get. If the files weren't, the checksum doesn't match, then we're going to send that file all over until it does. Let's see what else. So that's essentially Globus transfer in a nutshell. You'll get an indication that the files have landed. So let's say this is going to take a long time. You'll get an email saying it those files have landed. So you don't have to constantly monitor that transfer. Globus Grid FTP will resolve a lot of transient errors. So if the connection glitches and goes up and down, we'll kind of back off and wait till it picks back up and then start the transfer again. A lot of times I'll do transfers between my laptop and our research computing cluster at the University of Chicago. I'll start the transfer at home, shut the lid on my laptop, go to the office, pick it back up, and there it goes. The transfer just picks right back up where it left off, which is kind of neat. We do have the ability to do access to small base data, and I'll show you what that is here. So if you notice, if I click on this file, this download and upload, this is using HTTPS access. And the reason we've done that is, let's say you've got some files that and your collaborator just cannot install Globus Connect in any way, shape, or form. They can use HTTPS access to access those files, but again, you're not getting that Grid FTP goodness, so you're not going to get those transient error reliability. But we do have the ability to do HTTPS transfers. And of course, this supports just about any type of storage system out there. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you set this up at your own institution? How do you get Globus Connect set up on your file system? So Globus Connect is installed to instantiate an endpoint. Globus Connect, and I'll talk about the flavors of Globus Connect. The endpoints host those the collections. The collections abstract the various storage instances, and the users interact with the collections. Two types of collections. Mapped collections, those are accessed by a user that has a local account on a storage system. So that's what happened when we went to Globus Tutorial Collection 1. Whether you know it or not, you have an account there. Globus collections and guest collections are ways to interact with users in a collaborative sense. So I can share out data from my instance of Globus Connect at the University of Chicago with collaborators in what's called the guest collection. That is one of the subscription features, so I really won't touch on that, only to say that if you have a guest collection that has been shared with you, you can certainly access those and transfer that between that guest collection and your mapped collections. Okay, Globus Connect, two flavors. Globus Connect Server, multi-user Linux systems. Those are generally installed by the admins of the HPC system or the large file system. This is the different storage types. The cloud-based storage connectors are with Globus Connect Server, again, installed by an admin. And you can have multiple map collections. So for instance, Globus Connect Server is installed on a research computing cluster called Midway at the University of Chicago. My mapped collection is my home directory. Anybody else's mapped collection is their home directory. We can't see each other's mapped collections. We can't see each other's home directories in the mapped collection sense. Globus Connect Personal installs on personal workstations, laptops. It's a single user. It's installed by the user, and it gives you a map collection to your personal resources, your laptop or your local workstation. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about installing Globus Connect Personal. And let me take a quick look here. I think I've set this up. I look for Greg's MacBook. Okay, perfect. So I forgot to delete my instance of Globus Connect Personal to do an install. When you're interacting with Globus Connect Personal and you want to delete the endpoint, this is the way to do it. If you go into Preferences, delete Globus Connect Personal Exit, delete and exit, there it's gone. It's gone from my taskbar. Okay, so no more instance of Globus Connect Personal on my local laptop, but let's do an install. So if you notice here, File Manager here, and if we go to a collection, search all collections. Oh, hang on. Yeah, or let's go to, let me just back out of here. Oh, let's go back to the File Manager. Okay. So my collections shared with me. Okay, recent. So you can access, oh, here we go. So in the collection page, this is what I'm looking for. This sometimes moves around. You can get a copy of Globus Connect Personal. So you can download a copy of Globus Connect Personal. Obviously, it's on my workstation already, on my laptop, so I don't need to download it. But I'm going to go ahead and run Globus Connect Personal. So here we go. I've double-clicked Globus Connect Personal. It'll just take a minute to pop up here. And let me slide that in. Okay, so I've started running Globus Connect Personal. I go to launch that. I'm going to get a page here that's going to want me to authenticate. It's going to say, do you want to use your Globus identities to do various things? In this case, install Globus Connect Personal. I'm going to say allow. There we go, logging in. I can choose an identity to log in under. I'm going to use my UChicago identity. I'm going to give this collection a name. So it's Greg's MacBook, because it's right here on my MacBook. I can give it a description if I'm searching for it. Not going to do that here. This high assurance option, it's a subscription only feature, so don't click this unless you know what you're doing there. I'm not going to touch on high assurance today. And I just click save and I'm done. Okay, let's see. So There we go. I'm going to exit setup and I should be installed here. So let's go to my file manager and Greg's MacBook. There it is, Greg's MacBook collection. And sure enough, when it comes up, there's all the files on my local file system. So now I can transfer between my local laptop and any other collections out there. And but you may not want it to see all the file system, and you can tie that down here if you go to preferences. Let's see, access. I'm going to add let's see, I've got a Globus endpoint directory, and if I set that up here, and I'm going to take that away, and there we go. So now I should, if I refresh this, just see the one directory of my Globus endpoint directory, and I can transfer files to and from that. So really easy to set up Globus Connect Personal. I always tell people if it takes them more than probably about 30, 40 seconds, they're doing something wrong. So really easy to install Globus Connect Personal. And now I can do transfers between that and any other collection. Okay, let's jump back to the slides here. Okay, so a quick review. What's going on here? We installed Globus Connect Personal on a laptop. We've seen Globus Connect Server working on large-scale computer systems. We've logged into the Globus services. The Globus services interact with those instances of Globus Connect Personal and initiate transfers. The important thing to note here is that data channel, the transfer happens directly between the two instances of Globus Connect. The data doesn't flow through us. We don't see your files. We don't see your data. It goes directly between the two endpoints. You interact with the services interact with Globus Connect, and the transfers happen directly between those two collections. Okay, one more use case that I'm going to do, and that's with a national infrastructure. So, and I told you access. So first, let's go to my UChicago RCC Midway. So the administrators of our research computing cluster have installed Globus Connect on there, Globus Connect server. And when I go there, you'll see my home Naraki. This is my home directory structure that I know and love. I see that. I know I can interact with that. Makes sense to me. So the other collection I'll go to is on Anvil. Anvil's an access resource at Purdue University down in West Lafayette, Indiana. I logged in earlier today, so it didn't ask me. When you go to collections, you should be asked to authenticate to those collections as well. I go there all the time, so you're not seeing that. I did it earlier this morning, so it's not going to ask me again. But let's say I want to transfer this 10 gig file from Anvil to UChicago Midway. So here I am sitting in my home office in the west suburbs, UChicago downtown. In downtown, I've got files at Purdue University. I click on that, and I want to transfer that, but I want to give it some options here. I'm going to label the transfer. Let's call this Greg's Anvil transfer. And you'll see why this is nice to do in a minute. I can give it some other options. Let's say I was transferring multiple files. I could sync only the files where the modification time is newer, file size is different, et cetera. So those replication, backup, and restore tasks. Delete files on the destination that don't exist on the source. Again, replication preserves the source file modification time, right? Who cares when it was last transferred? I want to know when it was last touched. You could turn off checksumming. You can optionally encrypt the transfer. If this is on an endpoint where encryption is enforced, that's been clicked, and this is grayed out, so I can't control that. Skip files on source with errors. Like I said, we're going to keep sending a file until until it goes successfully. But if you want to skip out on errors, you can do that. You can fail on quota errors. So if you fill up your disk, you can fail out as opposed to Globus keep trying on that transfer. You can apply filter rules, so you can do, this is the regex, right? Your star.txt files. I only want to transfer files like that. You can disable notifications. So if you don't want email notifications, or just you only want notifications on failures, you can do that. We also have the ability to do time transfers. So if you want to transfer to exist in the future, or if you want transfers that repeat, I want this transfer to occur every day at 2 p.m., you can do that. Again, backup and restore, really handy for that. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to start that transfer off, and away it goes. Again, I can go in and I can jump in and view some of the details of that. Oh, this is interesting. So what happened here? If I view the event log, it started, because it's not done. That's why. So the task started here. We got a 10 gig file transferring, so it's going to take a little while. Again, I can log out, log back in. I don't have to be connected to this the whole time. But that file is eventually going to get up to, looks like it's successfully transferred. So there we go. So that 10 gig file transferred successfully. I can dive in, view some of the transfer activity. I can get the event log. It's got to refresh here. It's just not showing the details. So as soon as that refreshes, it will show me the details. But the file's up there. I get an overview. It's going to give me a relative transfer stats for those files. There we go. So that should, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So, you can see a relative transfer speed, pretty fast transfers. So really nice way to transfer files, especially those large file transfers. Okay, let's jump quickly back into slides and bring it home. So talk a little bit about some of the core security features. Access control, right? The identities are provided and managed by the institution. So if you have somebody at your institution, they've got your institutional identities, they go away, they leave the institution, their identity goes away, they can no longer access Globus resources with that identity. So it's a great way for you as the institution to kind of control that. We're merely an identity broker. Data stays at the institution. It's not stored by us. So the files go directly from your storage to where you want it to go. This is important both in the sense that it's not like cloud-based transfer, right, where you push it up to a cloud and then somebody else pulls it down. For large files, that could be not only expensive in time, but expensive in resources. That cloud-based storage isn't cheap anymore. The integrity checks of that transfer data, right? What you see is what you get. Is checksum, high availability and redundancy. Even we're based in AWS, even in the Eastern Zone, and even with the failures this past week at AWS, Globus stayed up and running. And encryption, anything that we store, any information about the transfer that we store, we encrypt in AWS. Okay, so where do you as an institution go from here? I always encourage identity federation. It's not a prerequisite. You don't need that. You saw lots of other ways to authenticate to Globus, but it does seem to lower barriers. And as I mentioned, it puts you on par with any other researcher in Globus. So you federate within Common CI login, release the research and scholarship attributes, and you're automatically going to be in the Globus login pull down. The next thing to do, install Globus Connect server on your HPC or your file system infrastructure. This is going to give your users of that infrastructure the ability to use Globus on their home directory structures, right? POSIX-based map collections, it's all free. You can do this. You can install Globus Connect server and use it out of the box, free and clear with map collections. And everything you saw me do today was with a map collection. So it gives your researchers the ability to use Globus on their HPC system. And we're here to help, right? Support at globus.org. Even if you're not a subscriber, they're going to help you install Globus Connect server. I think the installation instructions are pretty easy. We've got lots of good videos out there to show you how to do that. But just in case, we're certainly here to help, and our support team is going to help subscribers and non-subscribers alike. So the last thing I'll show, we've got lots of other toys in the box, and we can certainly talk about these at later things, some subscription features, some not. We've got reliable task automation. So we've got Globus Flow. So if you want to automate some of those, Globus's platform as a service. If you want to write your own applications and do things in a Globus way, we expose our API set and our SDK. We've got a really nice command line interface. So if you're a shell scripter like me, so lots of other toys in the box that we can talk about in subsequent sections. And the last thing I'll leave you with is our list of support resources. Docs.globus.org, always the best place to start. We've got a YouTube channel with lots of supporting videos. Our help desk, support@globus.org, second to none. They will help you out whether you're a subscriber or a subscriber, and non-subscribers are alike. Your a mailing list. So we've got a mailing list. So subscribe to that. You'll get updates from us. And the customer engagement team, me and my team, certainly feel free to contact me at any time. I can serve you, send you in the right direction or get you the right resources, and that might even be me. We've got a professional services team, so if there are things that you want to do with Globus, but you need some help doing it, we've got a PS team that can help you out with that. Okay, so there we go. I hope I've kind of brought it home in time here. I think there are some questions that I'll look here, and feel free to open up and ask questions directly as well.
Hi, Greg, I'm gonna do the host prerogative here, and I think the one question in there that we see is a person is using Jetstream and would like to move data off of Jetstream. I assume they have like a instance of something spun up there. So what's the typical use case for that? Do you install Globus Personal Connect on, if you don't have the paid service connector and everything, do you install Globus Connect Personal, the Linux version, via command line then, and then use your credentials and it'll show up as a collection?
Yeah, if you're installing it on a resource like that. Now, as far as the Jetstream collection, I'm not sure. Jetstream resources, I think, are mainly compute resources, aren't they? I don't know if they're.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're. I don't know if they're storage resources. I don't know what's installed on Jetstream as well. You'd have to contact those folks to see if they've got Globus Connect installed.
Okay. Then a second question. In terms of when you install the Globus Connect server, how do you authenticate that? What credentials are used for that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so when you install Globus Connect server, it looks for the local credentials on the file system. And the other cool thing you can do with Globus Connect server, you can map credentials. So you can map Globus identities to local credentials. Now, if like at the University of Chicago, right, I use my UChicago credentials to log in. So Naraki at UChicago maps to Naraki on Midway. But let's say you use Google Identity to log in, it's different. You can map those to local credentials, so you can make that work a little bit more easily for your researchers.
Okay, thank you. And we'd like to open the floor to anybody else that wants to unmute and ask their question or put it in the chat. I guess barring any more things, I really appreciate it, Greg, your time. I do want to mention that what we're thinking of, and I think Jessica will set this up a little bit better, that maybe we bring Greg back for something a little bit more hands-on down the road. So Jessica, I'll let you take over from there.
All right, thank you. And thank you again, Greg, for presenting to our community. That actually rolls us right into the next portion. Is everyone able to see my screen just by a thumbs up? Yeah, okay. So with that, we actually have an MSCC community poll that we'd like to deploy. We want to know what technical topics you're most interested in exploring in the new year. So this will help us prioritize future webinars, resources, and perhaps some hands-on demos with Globus with Greg in the future as well. So you'll see a quick Zoom poll appear on your screen shortly. And just please take a moment to respond. All right, you all should see that poll on your screen. And I'll just go ahead and relaunch that for those who cut short. I'm not sure why, but I'll relaunch that for anyone who didn't get to answer it in that first launching of the poll.
It came back.
Okay, great. All right. I'll give it a few more seconds. All right. So I'll go ahead and end the poll here. Again, thank you all for helping us tailor future content to your needs at your institutions. Again, special thanks to Greg again for presenting to our community. So I'll go ahead and end the poll here. It looks like there's some interest in some technical webinars. So we'll definitely take this and act accordingly. So thank you all for that perspective. Kind of moving into our next section. So just want to share some information about our communities of practice, starting with our CI planning community of practice. We actually just had a convening. It was our joint AI community of practice that was held during the CI planning community of practice time, which is the third Tuesday of every month at 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. So essentially, the cyber infrastructure planning community of practice is a space for leaders, staff, faculty, and others who are looking to develop and refine their CI planning efforts, their cyber infrastructure plan documents, as well as talk about other emerging areas within cyber infrastructure on their campuses. So this is just one of our many communities of practice. And with that, I will pass it to my colleague, Jennifer Kim, to share about our other community of practice.
Sure, thank you. So like Jessica mentioned, we had a convening this week with all of our communities of practice. So we did not have a standalone cybersecurity community of practice this month, but it does meet every second Tuesday of the month. So our next one will be November 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And this one is a convening, again, for leaders, faculty, staff, and students interested in many topics, many conversations around the topic of cybersecurity. We do also have a threat intelligence briefing that we've been kind of doing during the beginning of those meetings as well. So if you would like to hear more about that or contribute, please feel free to join and reach out.
Thank you, Jennifer. So with that, I will pass it back to you, Al, to close us out today.
All right, we'll close up our meeting here. First off, we can open the floor to anybody that wants to bring up anything of interest for the community, any comments or questions, anything you'd like to bring up. We'd like to give you a little bit of free space for that. You can just come off mute and talk or whatever you'd like. All right, everybody's quiet today, which is fine. On the screen, you should see that we are always looking for folks to present at our meetings, especially coming from the community. I dropped the link that's on the screen. If you use your phone to take a picture of the QR code, you'll get that same link, but it goes to a form that you can complete if you're interested in presenting at something. This could be a project that you're working on or technology that you're interested in and like to share with the community, that type of thing. Even if you want to do something collaboratively with MSCC or another entity, that would be great as well. So we're always looking for those kind of things. A reminder, our next meeting will be on December 4th, and it's because of the holidays. Generally, this meeting, I think, is like the third Thursday, which given the holidays, kind of puts us in a weird spot. So we'll just have the one meeting for November and December, and that'll be on December 4th. And I think we've already sent out the links for the actual calendar for that, but we'll redo that, and you should see the emails and such go out for that. Otherwise, I think, well, the QR code's been disabled. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to fix that. You got, and I see that April's got her hand up.
Good afternoon, Alan, everybody. Just wanted to remind folks that the MSCC quarterly newsletter for fall was delivered to your inboxes this morning. So please give that a look-see. You'll see more opportunities there to offer your input. And also, if you're not already following us on LinkedIn, please do. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, April. I appreciate it. With that, I think, again, I would like to thank Greg for presenting to us, and I hope that we can keep on working with Globus in the future and maybe do some hands-on type webinar work, because I think there's great interest and a great need for that in the community. And otherwise, I guess we'll give you back 8 minutes of your time. Appreciate everyone for showing up. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.